You know what captures my mind, Andrew? The way a simple exchange of crosses in Dostoevsky's The Idiot becomes this perfect metaphor for how good intentions can lead to absolute disaster. It's like watching a beautiful car crash in slow motion.
That's such an intriguing way to look at it, Pappy. This seemingly innocent religious tradition that becomes almost prophetic in its darkness. What made you focus on this particular moment?
Well, what really gets me is how Dostoevsky takes this traditional Russian Orthodox custom and transforms it into something deeply ominous. In normal circumstances, exchanging crosses would be like exchanging wedding rings, this beautiful symbol of unity. But here it becomes this weight, this premonition of tragedy.
The symbolism is vibrant, especially when considering how this practice has been a part of Russian culture for centuries.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really fascinating. We've got Prince Mishkin, who throughout the novel is portrayed as this Christ like figure, literally taking on someone else's cross. It's like watching someone volunteer for their own destruction.
That's such a powerful observation about Mishkin's character. The way he embodies this pure, sacrificial love is almost destructive in its intensity.
You know what makes this scene even more compelling? The psychological complexity of Nastasia Filipovna. Here's a woman who's been traumatized by society since she was young, and she's simultaneously drawn to Mashkin's purity while being absolutely terrified of it.
The dynamic between them reminds me of those moths that fly straight into flames. There's this fatal attraction at play.
And that's precisely what makes this scene so brilliant. When they exchange crosses, it's like watching two people sign a suicide pact disguised as a salvation attempt. Michigan thinks he can save her through pure love, but Nastasia Filipovna knows she knows that she'll end up destroying him.
In essence, the cross exchange becomes a perfect metaphor for their entire relationship beautiful, sacred, and ultimately devastating.
Let me tell you why this matters so much even today. Think about how often we see people trying to fix others through love. We've all either been Mishkin or known a Mishkin, someone so convinced of their ability to heal through love that they can't see they're walking into a trap.
That really brings it into our modern context. It's like those relationships where one person thinks they can save the other through sheer force of will.
Exactly. And here's where Dostoevsky was way ahead of his time. He understood something that modern psychology is still grappling with. Trauma can't just be loved away. Sometimes our very attempts to help others can actually harm them.
The way you put that really highlights how revolutionary this thinking was for the 19th century. How do you think this scene explicitly illustrates that?
Well, think about the symbolism of the cross itself. It's supposed to represent redemption through sacrifice, right? But Dostoevsky flips this on its head. Through Mishkin and Nastasia's exchange, he's suggesting that some sacrifices are not only futile, but actively harmful.
That's such a subversive take on traditional religious symbolism.
And here's what really gets me: the way this scene foreshadows everything that's about to go wrong. It's like Dostoevsky is showing us that sometimes the most dangerous thing isn't evil, but misguided goodness.
The implications for how we think about helping others are pretty profound when you look at it that way.
Absolutely profound. Because what Dostoevsky is really asking us is, what's the difference between genuine help and this kind of destructive salvation complex? When does our desire to save others become more about us than them?
That really makes you think about the fine line between empathy and presumption.
You know what's really wild? This entire scene spans only 2 pages in the novel, yet it encompasses a universe of meaning about human nature, love, sacrifice, and the limitations of good intentions. It's like Dostoevsky packed a whole philosophical treatise into one symbolic gesture.
The way you're describing it, Pappy, it almost sounds like a warning label for would-be saviors.
That's exactly what it is, Andrew. It's Dostoevsky saying, hey, before you try to save someone, make sure you're not just dragging them down with you. And maybe that's the most important lesson we can take from this. Sometimes the most loving thing isn't to try to save someone, but to let them find their own path to redemption.
Well, Pappy, this conversation has certainly given me a new perspective on both the novel and the way we approach helping others.
And that's the magic of great literature, Andrew. It helps us understand these complex human dynamics that we're still wrestling with today, whether we're talking about relationships, mental health, or just basic human interaction. Dostoevsky's insights are as relevant now as they were 150 years ago.